Thank you very much for those very interesting remarks. And I would note that we are running a little bit behind schedule, and we do have a second panel coming after this one, so I would just ask the panelists to be mindful of their time so that we can have time for some questions, but we will need to try and speed things up a bit. So with that, I want to introduce Dr. Jill Engel-Cox, who is the director of the Joint Institute for Strategic Energy Analysis at the U.S. National Renewable Energy Laboratory, NREL. NREL happens to be the Nice Future Initiative's operating agent, and Jill serves as the program director for that initiative. During her 25-year career, Dr. Engel-Cox has been an engineer, researcher, program manager, and strategic planner for a diverse suite of renewable energy, clean technology, and environmental programs in the United States, Asia, and the Middle East. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you to the organizers. I'm very happy to be here, and thank you for inviting me to talk about our role at the National Renewable Energy Laboratory around renewable energy technologies and our coordination with nuclear power. And at JICEA, we've been leading clean energy ministerial initiatives for many years, including the 21st Century Partnership, which is helping countries map their transition to new and clean energies. And so we are now supporting this new initiative, the Nice Future, with the intention that that we can look at ways that renewable and nuclear energy power can work together. And it was launched just this past May, and the goal of it is to really increase the dialogue about the role of nuclear energy can play alongside clean energy, clean renewable energy, to reduce carbon emission and help us meet our carbon emission goals. As was mentioned, the lead participants are the US, Canada, and Japan, with our collaborators from Argentina, Poland, Romania, Russia, United Arab Emirates, and United Kingdom. And JICEA and the National Renewable Energy Laboratory are the operating agents because of our long experience with working with international programs to help countries transition to new forms and modern forms of energy. So the NICE initiative is got four key areas of focus. The first around innovative applications and how we can, for advanced nuclear systems, both electric and non-electric, which include hybrid energy systems, renewable nuclear hybrid energy systems, industrial heat and power, desalination, hydrogen production, and distributed generation. Our second area of focus is around economics, looking at evaluation, market structure, ability to finance, particularly focused on technology breakthroughs, and documented through case studies and country analysis. We are also heavily involved in stakeholder engagement. This is particularly with policymakers and decision makers, but also a broader set of stakeholders regarding energy choices through webinars and workshops, and then communications and workforce initiatives, especially youth events. And you can see some of the statistics that we have in just our first 6 months of operating, 80 plus collaborators and organizations in 25 countries and over 300 participants in our webinars. So I'd like to, since I'm from a research institute, I want to talk a little bit about some of the technology application areas. And so these images are from an organization called Gensler, an architectural firm, and sponsored by Third Way. But I thought they illustrated some of the application areas that were mentioned previously. If you look at data centers and research campuses, they're going to be very large use of electricity. And this is an illustration of, you've got some small modular reactors there in gold in the middle, supported or collaborating closely with rooftop solar at a commercial scale, and wind power in the background there. But this is going to be a very increasing electricity demand as we go forward. Another application area is industrial process heat. This has been an area that we have not looked very closely at in terms of decarbonization, how we're going to provide heat needed for steel and iron production and other types of large industrial processes. This is another potential application area. Third, remote communities. This was mentioned by Sarah. If you're looking at communities that currently are reliant on imported diesel that is often shipped in or trucked in at very expensive rates, can you look at new forms of renewable and nuclear power to support those communities? And then also water desalination. So looking at desert and coastal regions and their need for water. Again, the combination of wind, solar, and nuclear power is a potential source of energy. So why are we hearing about this now? Well, renewable energy has decreased significantly in price. NREL has conducted research on that topic and has helped drive solar energy prices, a 99% reduction in price since 1977 when NREL was formed. And we are now partnering with our collaborators at Idaho National Laboratory, who is focused on researching new nuclear energy technologies and looking at ways we can collaborate to reach that. The way we can look at collaborating together on new technologies and making these technologies work together. Because we still have many global challenges to face. We have high percentages of variable renewables that will be coming onto grid systems. We have process heat requirements. We have transportation fuels. And of course, providing clean energy to the nearly 1 billion people that do not have access to electricity or consistent access to electricity now. And I think that's an important position or area of people that we need to be thinking about as well. So very briefly, and we have more information on this that we can share. If you think about the technologies of how these technologies together work together, this is an example of some of the systems. You can have tightly coupled systems where you've got small reactors generating electricity with wind power and photovoltaics to the grid. Excess heat can be put into thermal storage, or excess electricity can be used with electrolyzer to convert hydrogen, which can also be stored. And you can tune these types of systems that are very tightly coupled, that can operate on the scale of minutes and hours, and change and optimize how the energy is produced for different applications. And then you can look at a country or a regional scale. We've been doing a tremendous amount of modeling for particular scenarios. Every country is going to have a different mix based on their own energy needs and their own energy and human resources and natural resources. But you can model these and come up with different economic and technical scenarios to look at low carbon energy sources. This is one particular scenario from our NREL standard scenarios that's looking at a potential 60% carbon-free, low-carbon energy sources in the future. But the ability to model these is what's going to be very important for us to be able to make decisions in the future. So in conclusion, I just want to say that we are very excited to be part of this project. And that this, as a research institute, we really believe it's important for the energy communities to work together, to look for solutions collaboratively, particularly around new innovations. And a dynamic and a flexible energy system is going to help us meet our low carbon targets and provide energy for all. Thank you very much.